$30 million, hidden in a small bank vault in Southern California. And the money didn't belong to any ordinary depositor. It belonged to the 37th President of the United States, Richard Nixon. One crew figured out it was there. They spent weeks planning. They drilled through a roof, blew open a vault ceiling, cracked 450 deposit boxes over 2 nights, and walked away with over $12 million without triggering a single alarm. And the FBI had absolutely no idea where to start. This is the story of the most audacious bank burglary in California history, the largest FBI investigation of its era, and how one unwashed plate brought the whole thing crashing down. The man at the center of this story is Emil Dincio, a career criminal from Ohio who had spent most of his adult life getting better at one specific skill: breaking into bank vaults. Emil grew up poor and decided early on he was going to escape that by whatever means necessary. By the time he hit his mid-30s, he was already well known in underworld circles as one of the most technically skilled bank burglars in the country. Not a gunman, not a smash-and-grab artist, a planner. Someone who studied a target the way an architect studies blueprints. In 1972, Emil was 36 years old when a piece of information found its way to him through a contact named Jimmy, a major organized crime figure who ran a network of criminal operations across the country. The tip: a small, seemingly unremarkable institution called United California Bank in Laguna Niguel held a safe deposit vault containing approximately $30 million in cash. For a bank that size, the number made no sense. Emil knew it. But the explanation was sitting just 25 kilometers away, in San Clemente, where President Richard Nixon kept his private residence, known publicly as the Western White House. The money in that vault was Nixon's campaign war chest. Illegal donations cash handed over by wealthy backers to fund his re-election, money that couldn't be publicly declared, stored off the books and out of sight. Jimmy knew this because he had been one of those donors. He had already given Nixon $3 million. But when Jimmy was arrested on criminal charges and asked the president to use his influence to reduce the sentence in exchange for continued support, Nixon refused. Publicly, he couldn't afford the association. The relationship collapsed, and Jimmy wanted his $3 million back. He knew exactly where it was sitting. He just needed someone capable of getting to it. That someone was Emil Dincio. Emil moved fast. He built his team the way he always did, with people he trusted at a blood level. His brother James was first in, then his nephew Harry, then Calci Molinas, a close associate. Philip Christopher came in from Cleveland and brought along Charlie Bruckle, a man with an impressive criminal track record of his own. 6 people total, all professionals, all clear on their roles. There was one detail Emil kept from most of them: the money belonged to the President of the United States. Only Emil, James, and Calci knew that. He couldn't afford nerves. They flew from Ohio to California, booking their tickets under their real names, a decision that would come back to destroy them. They rented a house roughly 1 kilometer from the bank. From the 2nd floor, they had a direct sight line to the rooftop of their target. They called it headquarters. Then came the surveillance. For days, rotating in teams, they watched the bank. Opening and closing times, customer traffic, police patrol patterns, all of it logged. And over the entire observation period, not a single police vehicle came down that street. There was no security guard stationed outside. The only visible external security was a single alarm bell mounted near the roofline. Emil already had a plan for that. The bank sat inside a strip mall complex, which meant they couldn't approach from the ground without exposure. Their entry had to come from the roof. The plan: disable the alarm, drill through the rooftop directly above the vault ceiling, pack the holes with handmade explosive charges, detonate, and clean out the boxes before the bank reopened. They stole ladders from a nearby church. They sourced explosives and built the charges themselves. They bought a 1962 Oldsmobile chosen for its oversized trunk, registered under a fake name, to carry tools in and cash out. On the night of the burglary, Emil divided the crew. He and James climbed to the roof first. Philip stationed himself below with a shotgun as lookout. The other three prepared sandbags, literally bags filled with dirt, positioned to muffle the sound of the blasts. On the roof, Emil went straight for the alarm bell. He sprayed it with a liquid compound that froze the bell's entire mechanism solid. When it set, the alarm was permanently disabled, not cut, not rerouted, just physically frozen in place. No sound would ever come from it again. He and James drilled directly above the vault ceiling. 6 holes, explosives packed in, sandbags stacked on top. They set the charges and stepped back. All 6 went off. The sandbags absorbed the noise. Nobody in the surrounding area heard a thing. When they cleared the bags, they were looking at exposed steel rods, and through them, rows of safe deposit boxes. They used cutting torches to slice through the rods and dropped inside one by one. The vault held approximately 500 boxes. Emil knew which specific ones contained Nixon's funds, so he targeted those while the rest of the crew worked through the others with hammers. The first box he opened was packed with $100 bills. But dawn was coming. The bank was closed for the weekend, so Emil made a tactical decision: cover the roof hole with wood scraps, exit cleanly, and return Saturday night to finish. He locked the vault door behind them on the way out. They came back as planned this time with 2 additional recruits, bringing the crew to 8. Everything was running smoothly until a lookout's voice came over the walkie-talkie. A cleaning crew had pulled up outside the mall. Emil ordered everyone to stop moving. No sound. They waited in the darkened vault while the cleaners worked outside. Eventually, the crew moved on. By early Monday morning, they had opened 450 deposit boxes. Before leaving, Emil hammered the vault's internal time lock mechanism, ensuring bank employees wouldn't be able to open the door come morning. Then the crew climbed back out into the night and disappeared. When the bank manager arrived Monday and sent a housekeeper to clean the roof, the discovery took about 30 seconds. A hole through the roof. A hole through the vault ceiling. Hundreds of pried-open boxes scattered across the floor. Police were called. Detectives looked at the scene and knew almost immediately this was beyond their experience. They handed it to the FBI. The agents assigned Special Agent Paul Camber-Lang from Los Angeles and Special Agent Francis from Santa Ana had worked plenty of bank cases. Los Angeles was considered the bank robbery capital of the country at that time. But those were daytime jobs with guns and employees. What they were looking at now was completely different. A crew that had entered at night, worked across 2 sessions, bypassed every alarm, and left almost no physical evidence behind. The FBI committed 125 agents to the case, one of the largest investigative deployments in the Bureau's history to that point. Back in Ohio, Emil's crew sat down and counted $12,800,000. Not $30 million, but still an enormous sum. To clean the money, they drove to Las Vegas. In that era, organized crime networks used casinos as money laundering machines. The process was direct. Convert cash to chips, play a portion as a commission fee, receive the remainder back as clean money through the casino's bookkeeping. Emil had an arrangement already in place with a casino contact. It worked exactly as planned. Meanwhile, the FBI had almost nothing. More than a month passed without a break. Then a call came in from the Cleveland Police Department. Another burglary had occurred in Ohio. Same entry method, same technical profile, same style of precision. Cleveland detectives had a list of 98 suspects with known relevant skills and criminal histories. The FBI cross-referenced that list against airline passenger records for flights into California around the time of the Laguna Niguel heist. One name rose to the top: Emil Dincio. Cleveland had been looking for Emil for years. From Calci Molinas' name, agents worked backward. A taxi driver, shown a photo, remembered dropping a man matching Calci's description at a luxury hotel. The passenger had tipped him $200, which stuck in memory. At the hotel, records confirmed Calci had checked in under his real name. His phone records from that room led to a man named Dawson. When agents visited, Dawson said he knew nothing, but mentioned that Calci had left a car in his garage. It was still there. Inside the car, gloves, face masks, hammers, cutting torches, and the full set of tools used in the burglary. The phone records also led to a real estate agent who had rented an apartment to someone using the name Harry Barber, leased for exactly 6 months, which covered the planning period and allowed a clean exit. When FBI agents entered the apartment, it was immaculate. Every surface wiped, every potential evidence point scrubbed, except for one plate sitting unwashed in the kitchen sink. Forensic technicians lifted fingerprints from that plate. When they ran them through criminal databases, the results came back, matching Emil Dincio and several members of his crew. On the morning of June 27th, as Emil walked out of his home and moved toward his car, law enforcement vehicles moved in from multiple directions simultaneously. He was placed under arrest without incident. A search of the property recovered thousands of dollars in cash. Emil, recognizing the case against him, provided investigators with the locations of the remaining crew members. Within days, everyone was in custody. Charlie Bruckle agreed to cooperate with prosecutors, testifying against his co-defendants in exchange for no prison sentence. Emil's brother James received 15 years. Emil, Calci, and Harry each received 20-year sentences. Of the $12,800,000 stolen, law enforcement recovered approximately $8 million. The rest was never accounted for. A crew of 8 career criminals pulled off one of the most technically sophisticated bank burglaries in American history. They neutralized every alarm. They worked 2 full nights inside a vault without detection. They laundered the proceeds and scattered across state lines before investigators had a single solid lead. The entire operation came apart because of one plate that nobody washed. In the end, it wasn't the FBI's 125 agents that solved this case. It was the one small detail nobody thought about in the rush to get out. The perfect heist doesn't exist. It just exists until the moment it doesn't.